Hello and welcome back once again. I really do hope that you are learning and absorbing and applying what you are learning, and that you're making some pretty good progress with your current leadership challenges by now. I would also imagine that you have a fairly good grasp, or you're getting a fairly good grasp on what the 5 practices of exemplary leadership are really all about. And more importantly, I'd really like you to be thinking about working with the practices and how working with them and the behaviors actually enables you to be a better leader. So now what I'd like to do is have you reflect back over the last several sessions and think about what your takeaways have been at this point, right? And also think about what you've accomplished so far. We've been together for several weeks. I wonder if your thoughts about leadership have changed, or whether you feel that your leadership philosophy might have changed by now, or if you feel somewhat changed. Because at this point, many people in the class report feeling fundamentally changed by what they're learning and have come to appreciate both the simplicity of the 5 practices and the significant impact that the behaviors can have on their leadership. What I've always loved about this model is that it takes the mystery out of leadership and boils it down to 5 easy practices, easy to understand, a set of 30 observable and learnable practices. And the bottom line is, when they're practiced with greater frequency, you become a better leader. It's honestly that simple. Yet I also know that doing this is not necessarily easy. So as we've acknowledged before, truly leadership is actually hard work. Nevertheless, I hope by now that you feel like you're moving the needle, making some progress, and that you're more aware of how what you do and say really does matter, that you really can make a significant difference in other people's lives. A few years back, I was listening to a podcast by Jim Kouzes, who's one of the authors, as you know, of the Leadership Challenge Workshop. And he was talking about a time that he took a trip to Truckee, California, and he was having lunch with his wife outside. And he saw this etched into the building that he was seated nearby. And so I'll read it for you. This building is dedicated to the memory of Ignatius Joseph Firpo. What we have done for ourselves dies with us. What we have done for others remains and is immortal. So it was carved into the wooden sign right where they were having lunch. And what he went on to say basically is that clearly Ignatius Joseph Firpo, to his friends and his family and his coworkers, was clearly someone who made others feel that they were the center of his world. And he went on to say that's really what enabling others, the practice of enabling others, is truly all about. The best leaders take actions that make people feel strong and capable. They make people feel that they can do more than they ever thought that they could. So if you're trying to mobilize your team, people to move in a particular direction, right, then you've got to talk about the future in ways that really other people will find appealing. And it's got to be something that they can care about just as much as you do, maybe perhaps even more so. And the bottom line is that leadership is a team effort. That's what this practice is really all about. You can't do it alone. It takes a team to get extraordinary things done. So let's look at the 2 commitments tied to this practice. This practice is all about fostering collaboration, building trust, and strengthening others by increasing self-determination and competence. These are the 2 commitments that are tied to the practice. And the way that leaders go about fostering collaboration is essential to achieving the extraordinary results that you're all after. There is an expression: you can't do what you say you will do if you don't know how to do it. Leaders need to be very concerned about building up the capacity of their people to deliver on the promise. Your job as a leader is to help people increase their skills and abilities. And that's what we look at when we talk about this practice. Great leadership is a group performance. And the best way leaders can actually develop those around them is to give them a leadership opportunity and to let them practice and then coach them. That's your job. Trust is also a fundamental part of this practice. You have to keep working on trust and never ever take it for granted. Once it's built, you actually can't ignore it. And every single healthy relationship that you can probably think of, if you look back, it's built on trust, right? So as a leader, you really need to tend to trust on a daily basis. So let's look a little more directly at this practice. Here's what it looks like behaviorally, as we've done each time. How do you demonstrate this particular practice behaviorally? All of these behaviors are critically important to fostering collaboration and to strengthening trust. Yet, the single most important thing that a leader can do to foster collaboration is to instill trust. And what that means is you need to behave predictably and consistently and follow through to do what you said you would do. So let's look at these questions here. What are you doing to build trust? If it's that important, what are you doing to build trust? If you were to plumb the heart of your own ability to do that, where would you come up? Do your team members really, really know you? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10, I got that nailed, and 1 being, I'm not really sure, how would you rate yourself? How would you rate your listening skills? Because enabling others to act is really demonstrated by your being able to listen to differing viewpoints and really understand, to actually wait to reply and learn first to listen to understand. What are you doing to assess the challenges your team members are facing? What is their level of confidence or skill? Are you even aware of that? So Jim Kouzes would say the trust is a heart thing. Values are a heart thing. Culture is a heart thing. This is where we connect, and this is how we build trust. You can put trust on the agenda. You could put culture on the agenda. You can put shared values on the agenda. And once you put it on the agenda, you want to make sure that you talk about it. Also, in order for your team to remember to be able to perform at their best, at their personal best, you need to provide them with the opportunities to help them develop and grow. I knew one executive who had taken a senior level position at a Bay Area company and decided that in order to really quickly assess his team, he wanted to find out where they were really strong and what areas they really needed to grow in. And so he bought and read the book, The First 90 Days. In the second half of that book, they have a section that really helps you understand the A players, the B players, and the C players that are in your department. So I'd highly recommend, if you are unsure of where the strengths are, that's a book that I would recommend regardless of whether you've taken a new position or not. I think it's always timely. Um, I believe you can read it at any point in your career and skip ahead to chapters 7 and 8, and you'll actually be very good to go. So in class, you'll be given an opportunity to look at your own experience with the practice of enable others to act. And we're going to discuss what actions you and other members of your team have taken that have improved your team's ability to perform its task at its best and to reach goals, essentially. The results that we're after really are more achievable if we know how to provide the resources and tools and to help our team members build the skills that they need to get extraordinary things done. So I'm really excited again and confident that you're moving the needle at this point and making progress with your leadership challenges. So thank you for turning in your in-between session assignment, and I will see you in class.